welcome to Zoosday Tuesday, where you get to be a part of our conversation about conservation.
We have a special guest with us today, Sherilyn King. She is an American Sign Language interpreter. Thank you for joining us today.
We are celebrating World Ocean Day today, but you had some questions about that, didn't you, Anne?
Yes, I did. We live in Colorado and we don't have an ocean, so how are we going to help with that problem?
Well, you know, Anne, water from the land eventually makes its way into the ocean. So even though we do not have a coast here in Colorado, we are still connected to the ocean by our rivers.
And we care for animals here at the Pueblo Zoo that live in or by the ocean. So let's celebrate World Ocean Day. We'll get started with this video about watersheds.
Why would landlocked Colorado celebrate World Ocean Day? This is the Arkansas River. It flows through Pueblo County. All the rain that falls in the area around Pueblo gets washed into this river. That's called a watershed. Let's see where the river begins. High up in the Rocky Mountains in Leadville, Colorado, on the Continental Divide, snowmelt and rain begin a little river that flows downhill toward Pueblo. Lots of other streams and rivers also flow into the Arkansas River. Here is a picture of Fountain Creek as it enters the Arkansas. The Fountain Creek water is tan because it is carrying lots of tiny dirt specks called silt. Water picks up debris as it flows over the land. The Arkansas River keeps flowing to Kansas, then south to Oklahoma and across Arkansas where it flows into the mighty Mississippi and finally runs into the Gulf of Mexico.
The numbers are in. The 2021 Gulf of Mexico hypoxic zone, or dead zone, an area of low oxygen that can kill fish and marine life near the bottom of the sea, measures 6,334 square miles. This dead zone begins innocently enough. Farmers use fertilizers and manure to increase the output of their crops so that we can have more food on our tables and more food to sell to the rest of the world. But it's this excess agricultural nutrient pollution, combined with urban runoff and wastewater, that brings excessive amounts of nutrients into waterways that feed the Mississippi River. The Mississippi River is like a drainage system for your street, but it connects 31 US states and even parts of Canada. These nutrients are ultimately funneled into the Gulf of Mexico. The nutrients fuel large algal blooms that then sink, decompose, and deplete the water of oxygen. This is hypoxia, when oxygen in the water is so low it can no longer sustain marine life in bottom or near bottom waters. If the amount of pollution entering the Gulf isn't reduced, the dead zone will continue to wreak havoc on the ecosystem and threaten some of the most productive fisheries in the world.
Here's a map of marine protected areas. Let's turn 30% of the ocean into MPAs by the year 2030. What can we do to help oceans? We can throw away trash and dog poops. We can save water. Turn off the faucet when you brush your teeth. Say no thank you to single-use straws and utensils. Say yes to marine protected areas. Now let's go visit some ocean friends that live at the Pueblo Zoo. Here's a coral reef ecosystem just like ones found in the Gulf of Mexico. This colony of African penguins lives in the ecocenter.
You can help protect marine animals by using the Seafood Watch app whenever you go shopping. It sounds like there are a lot of ways we can help save the ocean. We have to be careful of anything on the ground that could make its way into the river and then on into the Gulf of Mexico and the ocean. So no littering. And be careful of using fertilizers and pesticides. Don't use too much, or better yet, plant native so you don't have to use any at all.
And we have to be careful of what we take out of the ocean, like seafood. The Monterey Bay Aquarium has created an app called Seafood Watch that lets you know which companies are harvesting seafood responsibly and leaving enough to the ocean so it won't become endangered. You can pick up this little handy little pamphlet at the gate. It lets you know which fish are your best choices, good alternatives, and ones to avoid.
Okay, I want to share this great Ocean Day lap book with you now. I found all the resources to make it on the World Ocean Day website, where they have lots of fun things for kids to do. So you open it up. I've got my World Ocean map and ways to help the ocean. I've got a little envelope of food chain things, and I have my coloring sheet on the back.
And now we're going to take your questions and comments. You just have to type them in the chat box. We are excited to talk to you about ocean conservation.
Let's try to watch this ocean cam of a coral reef while we talk. And we are going to put up a QR code so you can join the conversation about oceans with the folks at World Ocean Day. I wonder if we have any questions about the ocean.
We do have questions. Shelby asked, does it help to cut six-pack rings before recycling?
Absolutely. Cutting those rings, obviously we see the things where little sea turtles get their head stuck. So if we can cut them, that obviously helps. But better yet, what you should do is try to buy the aluminum cans, because those cans can be recycled and the boxes they come in can also be recycled as well. Whereas the ones with the six-pack rings and the bottles that your drinks come in are both plastic, so they really can't be recycled.
We have to cut down our use of plastic overall.
Yes.
So it's easy to just say, no thanks, I don't need a straw when you're at a restaurant. Once it's in your head and you're at the grocery store, you start thinking of lots of different alternatives to using plastic. But plastic is definitely all over the place in our lives.
Absolutely.
And David asked, what is your favorite sea creature?
I like sea lions. They're like big water dogs to me. I think they're the cutest.
Well, there's so many animals that live in the sea. The oceans are actually bigger than the land, and they're not even, we don't know as much about oceans as we do about the moon. But I was at an aquarium in California and I saw some octopuses, and those guys were really, really cool. And then I watched a video called My Octopus Teacher, and I was definitely hooked on octopuses.
They're very intelligent too.
Really intelligent and just so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Melissa Baer said, my name is Emma and I live in a landlocked state too. Thank you for the great ideas about conservation and learning about the ocean.
Aww.
You're welcome. Thanks for watching the show and adding to our conversation about conservation. Okay, that's it, folks. It was so glad to see you again. See you next time on Zoosday Tuesday.